Hola a todos, bienvenidos a mi vídeo. Soy Sof y voy a hablar hoy sobre la Casa de Bernarda Alba. Esto es el texto para el A-Level español, para mí, para los alumnos en mi instituto. Es muy interesante. Es un libro para mí que es bastante corto. Es un libro, una obra bastante corta. Y solo tiene 100 páginas y está bien porque solo necesitas 1 o 2 horas, depende. Esto depende de qué tan rápido puedas hablar. Pero para mí no puedo leer muy rápido, pero lo leí en 1 hora, creo. Tenemos esta obra que trata de unas mujeres en Andalucía rural en el siglo XX y vamos a hablar sobre las personas en esta obra. Tenemos Bernarda. Ella tiene 60 años y tiene 5 hijas. Ella es muy severa y nadie en la obra le gusta a ella. So basically, Bernarda, the main character, is 60 and no one else in the play likes her. She's really strict, she's really horrible. She's like a bit of a dictator in the play. She is very demanding of all her servants. She's horrible to all her daughters. They're all scared of her. Everyone in the village is scared of her. So basically, I've seen an exam question which asks, do you think she's a monster or is she a product of her time? So it's definitely a fair point to say that she's a monster. That's how some would describe her. Then we have María Josefa. Ella es la madre de Bernarda. Ella tiene 80 años y ella es loca. So we have María Josefa, who's Bernarda's mum. She's 80 and she is considered crazy. Y con ella tenemos la tema de la libertad. Then we have Angustias, who's la hija de Bernarda, y ella tiene 39 años. Ella es la mayor, the oldest. Ella tiene un padre diferente que las otras hijas, porque su padre murió. She has more money than the others. Tiene más dinero que las otras hijas. Y esto causa los celos, porque en estos tiempos hay que recordar, no puedo decir esta palabra, tengo que practicar. Tienes este sistema de dote, dowry system, donde las mujeres tenían que dar dinero. La familia de la mujer tenía que dar dinero a la familia del hombre. So women in these times, the family of the women in these times had to have money prepared to give the husband's or the fiance, the man's family. So in this, Angustias is the only one who has a dowry, and this causes some resentments and jealousy with the other 4 sisters because they have a different dad, who's the person who dies at the start of the play. At the start of the play, there's a funeral, and it's Bernarda's second husband who is the dad of all the other girls apart from Angustias, who has the other dad. The previous husband of Bernarda, who was richer than her new husband, if that makes sense. Okay, then we have Magdalena, who's tiene 30 años, y ella no es un personaje principante. Las hijas más importantes son Angustias y Adela, en mi opinión. Las otras tres, las hermanas medias, ellos tienen importancia, pero la mayor y la menor son las más importantes. And then we have Amelia, who's 27, Martirio, 24, Adela, 20. So Adela is probably the most important daughter. So she is like the most free-spirited daughter. She falls in love with Angustias's fiance. So because Angustias is ugly and she's old, but because she has the most money, she is the one who gets engaged to Pepe e Romano, who is the love interest in the play, because the whole point of the play is that they're all locked up. They're locked up for 8 years after their father's death as like a period of mourning. You can say in your exam, el periodo de luto. Luto is mourning. So they're locked up, and Pepe Romano is basically the only man they see from the funeral to the rest of it. It's the only man in the play that has like a name or anything of note. This is really interesting. So Pepe Romano is not on the character list. He's only ever spoken about. He doesn't he never speaks in the play. You never meet him. Every single person on the character list is a woman, which is quite interesting because normally you'd have at least one man, or you'd have mostly men normally. The play was written in the 30s, 1936, yeah. So it's written in 1936, just before he was shot by a firing squad because he was against Franco. And then we have, apart from the daughters Bernarda Alba and Maria Josefa is not that significant in that she doesn't really say much, and when she does, I don't know if you've read Hamlet, but the way Ophelia, or sorry, wow, that's is Ophelia in Hamlet, she sort of speaks in a weird way, and it's like not that significant, I don't think, except to tell you that she's mad. So Maria Josefa doesn't really say anything that, maybe she'll say something telling of Bernarda Alba, but she doesn't really like escalate the story, if that makes sense. Like she only comes in bits and bobs, and it's just to sort of tell you that she's mad, or to tell you that Bernarda is a horrible person or something like that, just from the way she speaks, if that makes sense. La Poncia is a maid, so she's a criada, which is a maid. See like a hierarchy between La Poncia and criada, and I was just about to say they're the same age, but actually no, she's 6, so La Poncia is 60 and criada is 50, so the other maid, so she will just be called criada, even though that means like a generic maid, like she is a character called criada. So she's 10 years older than her, so I don't know if it's about age or it's about status, but La Poncia is a really interesting character. So she's like the head maid basically, because she's the only one who has any degree of like being able to speak to Bernarda a bit more on a friendly sort of throwing her weight about way, whereas everyone else is really scared of Bernarda and they can't speak to her, if that makes sense. And then you have the other characters who are there at the beginning, the mujeres de luto, the mourning women, then some other women, like the first woman, second woman, third woman, like that. I don't think they're just there. I guess. Mendiga is beggar, but it's mendiga means a female beggar, I think. So another woman, and then muchacha is just a woman. I've got this revision guide, and I really recommend getting it. It's really good. Like, it's the only one I've found, really. It's the Hodja Education Study Guide, Modern Languages Study Guide, with the keys on front. Casa de Bernarda Alba. Okay, so in this book it says, you see Bernarda at the start of the play. No, so like Bernarda is revealed to us at the start of the play, through a conversation with the two maids, so La Poncia and La Criada. Through this conversation, So there's obviously different ways in which characters can be revealed to us. So they can be revealed from what they say, from what other people say about them, from a setting. So Bernarda's house is everything is really white. It's blanquísima. Like, that's a superlative of white. Like, it basically tells us she's a neat freak. Everything has to be super, like, clean and scrubbed and everything. So obviously in those times, in Andalusia, traditional Spanish houses were like white, like all the walls are white, and so the fact they are blanquísima suggests that she is really like about her walls, like they must be really clean, and that suggests how she's got a harsh attitude towards her maids. Like, we can already imagine just from that one word that she's really demanding and stuff like that. That's what I think of that anyway. She disciplines her daughters with an iron fist, and also she hits them as well. So that's a point you can say. She hits them with so she has el bastón, which is a walking stick, and she hits her kids with that all the time. And she raises it. They're like, that in the stage directions you get el bastón a lot. Like, she's gonna hit them with the walking stick. She just did hit them with the walking stick. She's bastoning everyone left, right, and centre. And this is a symbol of her harshness. Obviously, it's also a symbol of the time. Like, it was okay to hit your kids, and these people are all adults. Like, all of her kids are adults, and she's still hitting them, and she's still forcing them to stay home. Which is like, the youngest one is 20, and the oldest one is like 40, nearly 40, and she's keeping them all at home, and they're not allowed to leave for 8 years. Oh my god. She's only interested in like how people are on the outside, like their class. Like, that's a big thing in the play, like class. And she said like poor people are like animals and stuff like that. So she's obsessed with cleanliness. Got the points. She's obsessed with cleanliness. She's really strict with her daughters. She judges people based on their wealth and their status in society. She's called a monster by different people. Okay, that's Bernarda. Okay. Oh. She's also, like, at the beginning there's like a group of assembled women, and she is like the boss. Like, she is shouting at the women. So she basically acts like a dictator. She gives orders, she stops people from saying what they want to say. People are scared to talk around her. She is elitist with servants, like, you don't deserve to be here, this is your class. Greatest weakness is that she doesn't know her daughters well enough to know what's actually going on, like, with like what they're thinking. Because she's so harsh with them, they don't open up to her. That's certainly one of her. She's got loads of weaknesses. Like, my girl Bernarda has, I can't think of a strength. Maybe that she's scary and that people, but like, to what extent that can be considered a strength, I don't know. But she is blind to the tragedy that is unfolding in her house, and she ignores La Poncia's warning. So she calls like La Poncia impertinent and stuff like that, like disrespectful for trying to say about her house and stuff. But deep down, La Poncia's right, because La Poncia has spoken to Adela. La Poncia is more sharp, I think. We're moving on to La Poncia in a second, but yeah, she basically fails to listen to La Poncia's warnings, and La Poncia is the only one who even tries to stand up to her for the whole thing, because she's just so out of hand. She's also realistic, so she tells Bernarda that something's bad's gonna happen. She tries to warn her, but obviously Bernarda doesn't listen, because she doesn't listen to anyone except herself. She obviously knows her place, because she knows she probably can't do anything to change Bernarda's mind, because Bernarda is literally the stubbornest person you'll ever hear of. She's just the worst. Okay, and then we have Adela, who's arguably I'd say Bernarda is obviously the most important character, because without her there would be none of this tyranny. But like, of the daughters, probably her and La Poncia like this on the level of importance, so it's definitely likely to get a question about Adela. The others not so much, like Martirio, Martirio, Angustias and Magdalena are less important, so I feel like you're more likely to get a question on Adela or Angustias, or obviously like La Poncia and Bernarda, but what do I know? I don't know, maybe we will get a question on the others. Like, they do say stuff, like it's not that they don't say stuff, but for me, reading it, those were the characters that stood out most, so I would say focus on them with your revision. So we've got Adela, and she has the most of like spirit. She follows her heart rather than her mind. Like, you could probably say she's not that smart, she's quite fiery, she's quite strong tempered, she's not reserved, which is probably how I would be in this situation too. She's not as reserved as the others who have kind of learned to restrain themselves, I guess. She has no self-restraint, that's probably what I'd say. So she has a colourful fan at her dad's funeral, which it makes her stand out for being someone who doesn't always follow the rules. She doesn't want to stay in the house when her mum says they have to for 8 years. Fair play, I would not want to either. I don't think, we think we've been hard done by with lockdown. Imagine 8 years in the house, and it's not dictated by a disease, it's dictated by your own horrible mum. Not that your mum's horrible, not that mine was horrible, but if your mum was Bernarda Alba. She also is prepared to become Pepe Romano's mistress. She doesn't care what people think of her. Like, she doesn't care if he's gonna... La Poncia warns her that she should wait till Angustias dies, and then she can marry Pepe Romano, but she's impatient. She's quick, like she will move quickly. She moves on instinct, which is not a great idea. Little PSA there, not a great idea. So spoiler alert, she commits suicide at the end of the play because she thinks Pepe Romano has been killed, I think. Before she does, she snaps Bernarda's rod, like her walking stick, in half to show that her will is stronger than Bernarda's. Okay, and then we have Angustias, who's 39. She's inherited a fortune from her dad, who's different. She's got a different dad to the others because her dad died. She's really skinny and she's not very attractive. Like, so the only thing Pepe is going for is her money. It makes the other sisters resent her. Actually, do you know what? I just read Pride and Prejudice, and there's 5 sisters in that, and oh my gosh, I should do a comparison video. No, I shouldn't, but also, this is like Pride and Prejudice gone wrong. Pride and Prejudice is good, I recommend. So she, yes, so Angustias is like sickly, and La Poncia tries to convince Adela to like wait, because Angustias is probably going to die when she has a baby, so you can take Pepe Romano there. And the other daughters all criticise her. They're like, oh, she's ugly, she's sick. Magdalena says that she's the least worthy daughter. Sorry. She defends her right to her sisters for her to marry Pepe because she's got the most money, and she really wants to leave. Like, fair enough, who wouldn't? So Magdalena has basically given up. She is the most like sympathetic towards others, so she's really upset about her father's death. She starts liking Adela. She's quite mean to Angustias, but you know, she's probably the most sympathetic character, and she kind of just accepts her fate, which is sad, but it does provide like a contrast between her and Adela. Amelia is the quietest, and she echoes the given up attitudes of Magdalena and Martirio. She sees herself as a victim of Bernarda Alba, and she says that there is no worse fate than being born a woman. Martirio is a bitter character, and she also fell in love with Pepe Romano. She has a suitor, but Bernarda says no because the suitor's dad is a farm labourer. His name's Enrique Humanes. She is also like pessimistic about her life and about Bernarda's control. He says, "Yo hago las cosas sin fe, como reloj," which means I do things without faith, like a clock. Like, so I basically just move like clockwork. I don't like have any spirit anymore. Despite this, she is really passionate about Pepe, and she steals the picture of Pepe from Angustias' room. He becomes more important when the tensions about Pepe arise. So she confronts Adela about her liking Pepe, and she tells the lie about Pepe being dead. Then you have Maria Josefa, is basically a prisoner. She predicts faithfully that none of the daughters will marry. Criada acts as a foil. A foil is like a counterpart to a character, which shows certain qualities about them because they don't have it. Criada shows that she knows about Bernarda's pride, and she knows that men have power over women as well. She is like a fountain of information. Prudencia is the neighbour. She has the same social status as Bernarda. Yeah, so she's less aggressive than Bernarda, and that's what's like symbolised by her name, Prudence. The dialogue between Prudencia and Bernarda underlines Bernarda's horribleness. He praises Prudencia's husband because he doesn't forgive their daughter easily. But she's more calm about it. Like, Prudencia's like more forgiving than Bernarda would have been, basically. And Pepe Romano has a profound impact on the plot. He doesn't appear on the stage, but he's omnipresent. It's a bad omen because he gives Angustias a ring with pearls on it instead of diamonds, which is a bad omen in this time. And people sort of gossip about that, and he also lies to Angustias, so he's socially acceptable, but he's not like a good person, which shows that Bernarda cares too much about people's social status and not about how they are as a person. So here, there's a mind map in this book, basically. So the key characteristics of the people: La Poncia is cleanness, obedience, decency. Bernarda is power, cleanness, reputation, decency, being rich, and obstination. Pepe Romano is power, sexual desire, liberty, freedom. Amelia is obedient but repressed, and she gossips. Magdalena is obedient, repressed, and she gossips. Maria Josefa is rebellious, sexual desire, and crazy. Angustias is obedient, free, or she's going to be free, rich, and she's weak. Martirio is sexual desire, jealousy, sickness, ugliness, and repression. Adela is freedom, sexual desire, rebellion, and force. So I hope you enjoyed this video about the characters in La Casa de Bernarda Alba. Well done for getting to the end. I will be doing a video on other parts of the book, but yeah, good luck with your revision.